Hi everybody, welcome back. I'm Ree of Fluid Fox Yoga, and this is the final video, the sixth video in this series that I've been collaborating with Wuufly on. And we both actually have really enjoyed this series, and we hope that you have too. And if you do have any questions or comments you want to let us know about, please drop them below. Today I am bringing you a headstand tutorial, specifically forearm headstand tutorial. If you already have a headstand practice, then this is a nice refresher. If you don't, then this is going to be a nice test, a challenge probably for you. If you want to move to a wall or a door to do this, you're very welcome, or you could just do the first two exercises as a means of strengthening and preparing your upper body for inverting. Make sure you're warm and perhaps have done a 30-minute flow or one of the other videos in this series, or have just prepared the body by doing some sun salutations. And when you're ready, grab your mat and I will meet you there in a moment. So when you're ready, come down onto your mat, onto your knees, and we'll start with a couple of conditioning exercises to strengthen our arms and shoulders ready for headstand. So we're going to engage the core, which is crucial really for inverting. You're going to come down onto your forearms, and you can have your hands in prayer. You could maybe interlace your fingers here. You could place the palms of your hands down on the mat and spread your fingers. So your hand placement, your choice. Just make sure your elbows are shoulder width apart and under your shoulders. So you come to the top of your mat and then walk your feet away. So you come into a low plank. You're going to just push the floor away, and you can hold this low plank, or I like to gently rock forwards and back. So you're pulling your belly in, you're pushing the floor away, you're almost sort of doming the upper back, rounding the shoulder blades. Hips on down, so we're not too high up in the bottom, but we're not dropping down, so you shouldn't feel any tension in your lower back. And we just hold this for about a minute, so you can rock forwards and back. Or you could just find stillness here. And then when you're ready, lower one knee down at a time, and then just send your hips back to your heels. Ease down into child's pose. Have a little wiggle, stretch out. So the second exercise, which is just going to help strengthen our shoulders and allow the shoulders to feel the weight more on top of them, and again it's another core drill as well, is dolphin walks. So coming back down into your forearm plank, your hands of choice. You might want to change it up and just try bringing the hands flat to the floor, or interlacing if you haven't done that. So maybe switch your hand position, your hand placement. Tuck your back toes under and lift your hips up here. And instantly think about pushing the floor away with your forearms and elbows, and just walk forward so your shoulders are a little bit further over your elbows, and you can tuck your chin in here. So you can either hold here, or you can start walking forwards with your toes and then walking back. So taking 4 steps in, 4 steps back. And I try to aim to do maybe 6 to 10 of these. Keep pushing the floor away. And then come back down to plank, lower your knees and rest in child's pose. So important that you just rest your arms and allow them to recover. And then coming back up. So to go through the headstand base, in a forearm headstand, you would interlace your hands, your fingers, and you tuck the baby finger that's sort of dangling out in the way. You'd bring it inside the other hand to tuck it out the way. Your forearms would be in a similar place to how you just had them for your plank, and you'd make sure that the elbows are under your shoulders. So I always set my base up by bringing my elbows down, making sure that they're under my shoulders by reaching for them with my hands, interlacing my hands out in front of me, tucking the little finger in, and that kind of creates a nest or something to push the back of your head against. So you start to bring the hairline down to the floor and you find the back of your head pressed into your hands. So with your hairline on the mat, not necessarily the crown of the head on the mat, more the hairline. Fix your gaze on something on the floor, something on your mat, and keep that gaze fixed as you tuck your toes under. And then as you tuck your toes under, push the forearms down. So you're protracting through the shoulders and you're creating a dome shape now in the upper back. Push the hands and the elbows into the floor as you lift your hips up. Keep your gaze fixed as you walk your feet in. So you could stay here. This is an inversion. You could bring one foot in. You could maybe float and just find one leg tuck, or perhaps you tuck both feet in together here. If you're happy here, you can start to take one leg up at a time, going really slowly, pushing the shoulders down, pushing the hands and forearms into the mat. Squeeze your bottom, point your toes, engage your belly, your core. Coming down as gently, as carefully as you did going up, and lowering back down into a child's pose. And just resting in child's pose for as long as you need to until the blood flow returns to normal. If you don't have a headstand practice and this is something completely new for you, then I recommend moving to a wall or a door so you've got something behind you in case you lose focus or that engagement goes and you start to wobble. I'll just demonstrate one more, kind of like a floating, rather than floating into that tuck shape where we brought one foot in and then we let the other one float up. You could do it with a split leg, and the same thing can be applied. You can float that bottom foot up. Just depends on where you are with your headstand practice. I'll just demonstrate so you can see, but you're very welcome to continue practicing or attempt this one, this variation. Once you've got your foundation set up, and that's really important, I always make sure my elbows are under my shoulders. I'm pushing into my elbows and my hands and protracting the upper back even before I lift the knees off the floor. Once I've got that, tuck toes under. And so all we're going to do is float that top leg up. And notice how the bottom leg, I'm pointing both my feet here, straightening the legs and keeping engaged. I don't necessarily need to fully extend that left leg, the bottom leg, all the way up to the top. I'm just working on that float. So that's another entry to work towards, depending on your hamstring mobility, of course. But if that top leg wants to bend, just to give you that little extra tilt, that's fine as well. After every inversion, come back to child's pose. just for a little recovery. Balance the blood. So 2 options there to work towards: your tuck float or your tuck press, and your split press or split float. But yeah, happy headstanding. Hope you enjoyed that. Thank you so much for following along to this tutorial and giving the video a go, and I hope that made your base, your headstand foundation stronger, and maybe it's something you could incorporate more into your practice going forwards. This video is brought to you by Fluid Fox Yoga and Wuufly, and as a very small gesture of your kindness, we would be so grateful if you could subscribe to our channels and give this video a thumbs up. Meanwhile, that is it in this series from us. Thank you for following along if you have, and we look forward to seeing you very soon. Take care.